in the studio, we get the opportunity to talk to the one and only, the lady herself, Dr. Janet Seabrook. So she's going to tell you why your health matters, and we're going to get into this conversation and talk about a few things, talk about what's going on. But more than that, I want to remind our listeners that the views expressed by the host and callers of this show are not necessarily views of WLTH Radio Management, owner, sponsors, and or advertisers. And with that, I want to reach across the aisle and say, good morning, Dr. Seabrook. How you doing?
Good morning, Natalie.
It's great seeing you. I'm always excited. And today, let me see, is that orange or what's it considered, coral or whatever?
It's pretty orange.
It's pretty orange?
At least in my eyes.
Well, you're definitely brightening up the studio, and we're really happy to see you. Thank you so much for coming out and for having a conversation with us today.
Oh, you're very welcome. Well, as you can see, I'm sans. I'm without a guest today. I'm solo.
My work is okay.
But
right.
that does not mean that we can't have a good, lively conversation. So I'm excited to be here today. Even though it looks a little dreary, like it wants to rain, but I put on the brightest jacket that I can find in my closet. Maybe that'll help brush it off a bit.
All right. Well, tell us about what's your yard looking like, because mine needs some rain. So.
Well, thank you so much for asking. On Sunday, I probably harvested about 15 to 20 blueberries, but they didn't make it into the house.
Oh.
It was so delicious. And so, and I told my husband I would share. So he was out in the yard with me. I was in the backyard, and he was toward the front. And so I was showing him the blueberries when he came around, and I said, I'll bring them in the house. We'll have them for dessert after dinner. He didn't make it.
Didn't make it.
So I have some wonderful blueberry plants sent to me by my very good friend. She's also a fellow physician. We went to medical school together. She lives in Brooklyn, and she is able to grow almost anything in her backyard. So
Really?
She has rows and rows of blueberries, raspberries, golden raspberries, blackberries. I mean, her yard is just full. And grapes as well. So I haven't been as successful with the grapes. And I was supposed to have an abundance of raspberries this year, but something is going on with them. And I think it was weekend before last. They were there. You can see the buds, but then now this week they started to turn brown. So I'm trying to do some investigation and find out what's going on. The squirrels ate all the corn. Or chipmunks, either one, I'm not sure. Could have been both. They could have had dinner together. I don't know. But the corn is gone. But I have watermelon. I have about 6 tiny baby watermelons. So I'm so excited. So I saved the seeds from last year.
Okay.
And I planted them on one side of the container. And then I bought plants from the same garden center. So they're relatives, and they're in the same container together, and they're trying to outdo each other.
Oh, okay.
The cantaloupes have buds on them. The cucumbers are starting to come in, and I'm going to have tons and tons of chili peppers this season. They're already coming in. Okra, green peppers, green onions, white onions, potatoes, because this year I kept the label so I know that they're potatoes. Let's see, what else do I have? Brussels sprouts, collard greens, broccoli, carrots, kale, basil. Oh, and a new one called purple basil. It smells so good. So purple basil, regular basil, Greek oregano, regular oregano, and spearmint and peppermint.
Wow, that's a full garden. So, are they in raised beds or is it actually?
It's a combination.
Okay.
I have some there's this pot that's called the grow box, and so I use those. You can put plants in those, and it comes with the nutrient bed that goes on top after you put the seedlings or seeds inside of the pot. So I use a grow pot. I have about 18 or 19 of those, and then I just have some containers. And I did a lot of containers this year, more containers in regular pots than I've done ever before.
So will you eventually have to transplant them?
No.
No, they're going to stay in those containers, really?
And what I'm going to do with the herbs that I have in the pot, I have some peppers and things in there with it. I did a lot of crowd started gardening this year just to see what would happen, and they're fighting each other for space, but they're so big, and I'm just gonna have, I think, an abundance. And so when the peppers are harvested and those plants die down, and I'm gonna take them out, but then I'll take the pot inside because it has the herbs in it. Yeah, and they'll stay as long as I can, pick some of the growth off of it.
Okay,
So
and
I'm
you actually
excited.
use them in your recipes, right? Some of them, right? Okay, okay.
All of them. Oh, I forget. I have beets.
Beets, okay.
Yeah, I planted some beets, and I'm excited because I'm going to use them in the tops, the leaves. I'm going to use those in my mixed green salad as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to try and harvest as much from the garden and try to have less waste. But then I also my girlfriend of mine, my friend from New York, she sent me this electric composter called Lomi, and so I'm excited about using that. And you can take your kitchen waste and put it in there, and it compacts it down to compost. So I'll be using that to compost the garden as well.
Well, she certainly seems like quite the gardener, huh?
Yeah, she is. She is.
And it's interesting because did she grow up around farming, or is this just something she developed over the years?
I think she just developed it over the years. You look for hobbies and things to do outside of the hospital and outside of clinic, and I think we both. Well, I've always been a gardener. I've been planting things probably since I was about 9 or 10 years old, and I just like to have my hands in the dirt, and I always wanted to see how things would grow. I liked biology. Biology includes plants and not just plants are living things. So I just kind of gravitated to that. We had a rose bush in our backyard that my mom said a storm had kind of bent the trellis, and then the canes were broken, and she thought it was dead. And I think I was probably about maybe 11 or 12, and I went back there and just kind of hacked it down with the hedge clippers, kind of hacked it down, and that next summer it came back and it was these beautiful pink tea roses, and it started to climb up the trellis again.
Wow.
So I just always like just playing in the dirt and growing things.
So it's interesting the phenomenon in terms of people that but they actually see him jump into it. Everybody, everywhere, there's a gardening everywhere.
I think that back in the day, growing up in Erie, you could go through any neighborhood and there was somebody always had a garden. Collard greens were growing in people's backyards and things like that. But I think the pandemic kind of increased that interest. People were at home, nothing really to do, couldn't go anywhere. And so I think more and more people look for hobbies and things that they could do around the house. Some people built furniture. Some people remodeled their homes. Other people went outside and started growing things.
Yeah, well, it's wonderful because when you think about how healthy it is and the number of things in terms of that you don't have to go to the store, you can save certain things on your grocery bill. But then the next thing is candy.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. So I grow so many cucumbers that I don't have a choice
Oh, okay.
but to put some of them away.
How do
make
you do that?
canned pickles, canning.
Oh, you make pickles.
Yeah, I make pickles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I make pickles from the
Okay.
cucumbers. You can do a quick pickle or you can do the ones in the jars, and I do both.
And a relish. Some people use them for relishes.
I said this year I was going to try and make chow chow.
Okay.
Yeah. I had that years ago, and I think we were driving through Tennessee or somewhere and stopped at a little country restaurant, and my parents bought a couple of jars, and I've been hooked on it since then. I love chow chow, so I said I was going to try and make my own this year.
Okay, that's going to be interesting. Maybe you can have some jars when you do your cooking demo.
All right. I didn't tell you about the tomatoes, so I have all kinds of tomatoes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I did
the little ones.
I did the beefsteak.
Okay.
I think I did some lemon girls or yellow girls in big boys, and then the cherry tomatoes. And the cherry tomatoes have already started to come in, so every time I'm out there, I just grab a handful and eat them. They taste so much different from the ones in the grocery store. I don't know why.
And it's interesting. I'm listening to you talk to this, so I want to know, when do you have it's only 24 hours in a day, so I'm trying to figure out, how do you coordinate all of this?
It's not easy.
I know.
It's not easy.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes I'm out there and it's starting to get dark.
Oh, really?
Especially when I wanted to get everything in the pots and everything. I just I make time. When you love something, you should be able to make time for it.
I'll make
So
time for it.
try to make time. Get up on Saturday mornings, even though I don't want to. Roll out of the bed and try and get in the garden early before it gets too warm.
Yeah. Well, I think right now, as I said, the rain, and so, but you have to have a balance of that. Do you have a rain barrel out there, or how do you do it? Or
I
you
have
just water
two.
it?
I have two rain
You
barrels.
do? Okay. Uh-huh.
And still, I haven't been able to collect as much rain this year, and I don't know why. Um, I don't think I had the barrels positioned quite well. But we've been using the water hose. But for the last 3 days, I haven't had to water anything because it's been sufficient enough rain to take care of everything, which is good.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So amazing. So are you in the books? Are you doing things mostly by instinct in terms of just following the pattern? Because I'm still trying to figure out this blueberry thing, because I thought they were pretty difficult to grow.
They're not. It's surprising. They're not that difficult to grow. So it's a combination. I do have some gardening books, but I pretty much, go by instinct as well. Just like with I said with my raspberries starting out, they're starting to show some signs of disease. So now I'm going to go and do some research and try and figure out what's going on with them. Sometimes, the air may not be circulating around the base of the plant enough, and that may cause some fungus or some rot. So I'm just going to try and do some research and see if I can figure out what's going on with my raspberries.
What about green peppers? Not the hot peppers.
No,
Spicy ones.
I have the green peppers.
You have the green peppers.
Yeah.
Do you grow the different colors? Because I'm understanding that the one that's most nutritious is the red one.
On a paper towel and just put it somewhere on a shelf.
Oh, okay. Ironically, we're talking about things that are healthy for you, but this happens to be Men's Health Month. Is that
Yes.
what it is?
Yes, this is
Okay.
June is Men's Health Month, and we just want to continue to encourage our men to go to the doctor to get those health checks, colonoscopies, prostate cancer screening, blood pressure screenings, to get those annual lab, check their status on their kidneys and their cholesterol. So we just need to encourage them to go to the doctor. Men it's they're a little different. And it's you have to do a lot more convincing to get them to go to the hospital or to the doctor's office. But I'm hoping that we can take the time, particularly in the month of June, to make sure that we speak to our men, our our boys, and our young men about making sure that they're taking care of themselves.
Okay. All right. Let's put a call in for you. And the caller has a question. Good morning, caller. I'm sorry.
Well, I understood, okay, about the tomatoes. Now, they have these pop-ups coming on, this Dr. Guthrie and all these different folks saying that tomatoes mess up your gut, and we've been doing it for years, but then I don't know if we've been tearing ourselves up for years, or if we should use them in moderation. So please help me with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So there are tomatoes are acid, but there are tomatoes that are lower in acid. That's what I mentioned, the lemon girl and the yellow boy. Those are lower in acid. The heirloom tomatoes are lower in acid than the bright red tomatoes. I do grow the bright red tomatoes, but there are some people that have acid reflux, and so they aren't able to eat things that have a lot of acid in it. So you should speak with your healthcare provider about acid reflux or gastric reflux. If you have that, there are over the counter medications that will help to alleviate that, but you want to make sure that you aren't masking some other gastric disorder by taking over-the-counter medications without the advice of a physician. But there are lower in acid tomatoes that people who do have acid reflux, they're able to eat those tomatoes without any problem.
What about the dried tomatoes? I love dried tomatoes.
Some dried tomatoes are so good.
They are
But
delicious.
again, they're the red ones. I
Okay.
think if you dehydrate the yellow ones, you can still get that same flavor with less acid.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's go back to the phone lines. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, and congratulations, Doctor. Seabrook, on your position.
Thank you.
And hi, Natalie. Couple questions. Why is that when people tend to get older, sometimes it's almost an automatic that they start walking bent over? And also, I want to ask about if you're on Coumadin, warfarin medicine, you can't eat a whole lot of green vegetables. And one other question, if you probably asked 100 people if they knew their blood type, you may get maybe 15, I'm not sure. But why is it that the doctors do not make sure that their patients know what their blood type is? Because a lot of foods they shouldn't be eating if you know your blood type. And where can you get, well, I guess I can Google where you can find out the foods that you should not be eating. But those are my questions, and I'll hang up and listen.
Thank you.
So, if I remember correctly, the first one we talked about was posture and walking, and as we get older, that position tends to be stooped. That happens for multiple reasons, because of people's stature and the way they sit when they're younger in life. And as we get older, and as we're hunching over computers and now cell phones and things like that, people have a tendency to hunch their shoulders. But that our posture seems to change, and typically that's because of arthritis, and then the way that our spine curves anyway. So we do need to, as young people, practice, sitting up straight and making a conscious effort as we get older to make sure that we're sitting up straight and not hunching our shoulders. So that will come over time as our bones start to deteriorate and arthritis starts to set in. But people have to make a conscious effort to not do that. And it's difficult because it feels good, and there's less strain when you're hunched over. And so when you make that conscious effort to sit up straight, you can feel that pulling, and it doesn't feel as good as when we're stooped over. So that comes with age, but it doesn't necessarily have to happen if people would practice good posture and being more conscious of how they're sitting. Now, Coumadin, there are other medications, other blood thinners out, and they've been out on the market for a while. When they first came out, they were very expensive, and now they're more affordable. I tell patients all the time, or people who have asked that question about Coumadin and greens, speak with your healthcare provider about transitioning over possibly to one of the other medications that does the same thing as Coumadin, but it allows you to eat greens, leafy vegetables, and things like that. If your healthcare provider is not in agreement with making the switch, maybe because your insurance won't cover it, or your Coumadin levels, your warfarin levels are stable and they really don't want to make any change, then you have to sit down and try and figure out, well, which one of these can I eat? Because it's not 100% of anything that's green that you can't eat on Coumadin. But you should check with your healthcare provider about what you can and cannot eat, and if there's a possibility if you can be switched to one of the other blood thinning medications. Then let me see what was next. The blood type. So why don't doctors tell you what your blood type is? Most of the time we don't know. There's a test, but there is no need for people to actually know what their blood type is unless you need your blood to be replaced. You're in the hospital, you've had some type of traumatic incident, or you're in surgery and you need to have your blood replaced. And I know that there are some healthcare providers that look at blood type and then like to kind of tell you what, things that you should do with, if you have this blood type, then these are the, foods you should eat to keep you healthy. Um, I haven't, I don't know the science behind that, so I really can't speak to that. But as far as knowing what your blood type is, you can find out what your blood type is by donating blood, because they tell you what your blood type is, or you can, ask your healthcare provider for the test. But you're going to pay for it because insurance probably will not cover just because you're curious about what blood type you have.
Is that a part of my chart as well? Is it in there?
Your blood type?
Yeah, I don't know why I
The
thought I
only
seen
reason that we would have to get your blood type is if we think that we may need to give you a blood transfusion. Otherwise, there is really no need for a person to, or if you're giving a kidney to somebody or you're receiving a kidney, we need to, any type of organ transplant, we would need to know what your blood type is because that's a part of the compatibility testing when we're making that transplant decision. But just to go around and check everybody's blood just to see what their blood type is, to see then what medications or what diet, I just don't know the science behind that.
Okay. All right. You have another caller. I know. And I got a couple things I want to mention too as well.
Okay.
Good morning, caller.
Yeah, good morning. She pretty much hit the nail on the head. I am a donor regularly, and I know my blood type is O positive. And every time I go, they just really like to struggle. They're ready to get my blood because I didn't know, but they informed me that my blood could be used across the board for all people, even babies. And so they enlightened me on that. But just like she said, you could donate blood and it will give you your blood type, and you'll be in the know of your blood type. So that's how I found out that I both found. So I thought I'd just throw that out there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being a donor. And he is correct. O is the universal donor. O can give to anybody. O can give to A positive, AB positive, B positive. O can give to everybody. So if you are O positive, like the gentleman said, if you go to donate blood, they will tell you your blood type. Then you will always know what your blood type is. So I encourage people, particularly African Americans, to go and donate blood.
Okay.
And that helps out our sickle cell patients because they depend on blood transfusions. And so I think it's important. And if you really want to know, then go and donate blood if you can. Then you will know your type. But O positives, O universal donors, we love you. Thank you.
Wow, amazing. It's something that, you do take that for granted because it's like you asked me, I can't remember at one point I did know, and I was like, I don't know. And whether or not it's changing or there's a trend. How am I going to say, okay, you're going to change your blood type and you're going to be doing something different. You're going to grow some additional stuff on your body.
That won't happen. And when you donate blood, they will give it to you, put it on a card, and then you can keep it in your wallet.
WLTH. Good morning, caller.
How are you young ladies doing?
Doing great. How about yourself?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Yeah, O positive, that's my blood type also, O positive. And only someone who gets people's blood O positive, you got to be O positive yourself. You just can't get it from anyone. If you get your blood, if you need blood, the O positive person, there's got to be another O positive person, to give you blood.
That is correct. You are absolutely correct. O positive to O positive. You can give out to everybody, but you can only get O positive. You are correct.
All right, thank you, lady.
You're welcome. We're learning a lot today. We went all the way back to, this was college biology. When we talked about blood typing.
Keep going. Hello, caller.
Good morning to both of you.
Great.
I have a question. What if your blood type is RHA negative? Can you donate to just RHA negative?
And so A negative is a very rare blood type. And so RH is the rhesus factor. And so when an RH negative mother has a baby, she has to get so that will not cause her to have a loss of fetus moving forward. And so that was discovered many years ago, before I became a doctor, that some women would have a child and they would be unable to carry pregnancies after that first pregnancy. And what
Right.
that baby would do is, the next baby, the mother would build up in her system and reject the pregnancy, so she would have pregnancy loss after that. And so it was found that by giving the mom the immunoglobulin after she has the baby, when the baby's blood is tested, and the mom is tested, and if she's negative, then she would get the immunoglobulin.
That's what that shot was. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Going back to the phone line. Hello, caller.
Well, good morning. How you doing? This is Coach Pitt. How you doing?
Doing okay.
Okay, I'm an O positive. I can give to anybody, but I can only receive from O positive.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, you are correct.
When I was in the 6th grade at Roosevelt High School, they tattooed my blood type on my side.
Wow. Now that's different. I hadn't heard that one before.
I got an O+. This was in the 40s now. When they tattooed, I was in the 6th grade, and they tattooed all of the kids in school had their blood type tattooed on the side. All I had to do was bend over and I said O+.
Oh my goodness. You know, I'm so glad that we have kind of moved away from that. And when you think about it too, if you're unconscious or unable to speak, maybe they can't find your wallet with your card in there, you don't have any family members around, and you have
right on that side.
Yeah, exactly. I could see how that could come about, but I'm glad we stopped doing that.
So you stopped doing that?
No, we don't do that anymore. That's why there's so many people calling in and don't know their blood type.
I know my blood type is tattooed on my side. I've been knowing mine since I was in the 6th grade.
Oh wow! But no, we have stopped doing that. We don't we don't tattoo children and put their blood type on them.
Well, this was in school now. This was during school.
Mm-hmm.
I was in the 6th grade at Roosevelt High School.
I don't believe that, but like I said, we don't do that anymore. That's not a part of medical practice anymore.
Okay, well, I don't need no card or nothing like that. Mine is tattooed on my side. Okay, thanks for
All right, you're welcome. Take care.
All right. Okay.
That was a little bit of history, some historical facts about. But you can. It also tells us how far we've come in in medicine, confidentiality, privacy, and things like that. I would also think that during that time we had the draft. Men went to war. Yes, you have your dog tags, but what if your dog tags get torn off?
Right.
And your dog tags have your name, your rank, and whatever other identification, plus it also has your blood type on there.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
so I can imagine if that gets taken away or maybe blown off or you lose it, now you have a tattoo on your bum that says what your blood type is. So thank God we got away from that. We don't do that anymore.
Oh, it has been very interesting.
This is, yeah, we went all the way around the world. We started at vegetables and ended up on tattoos. I don't know how we got here, but here we are.
Yeah, a history lesson. Because who would have thought about all of that? I wouldn't, in a million years, who would have thought that conversation would be generated from that. But amazing. I know you got to get out of here, but one more time we want to hit, just to let men know, stop being afraid.
Stop being afraid of going to the doctor. We need you all to stay here with us. So go get your blood pressure checked, get your cholesterol checked. If you're over the age of 40, get your prostate checked. And if you're over the age of 45, get your colon cancer screening.
All right, and they can go right down the street, right down there.
They can come to Community Health Net, 219-880-1190. You can go on our website, CHN-Indiana, Indiana.org. I had to think about that for a minute. We have 8 locations throughout Northwest Indiana, and we're here to serve. On September 28th, we will have our annual breast cancer walk at Marquette Park. Registration at 9. The walk starts at 10. For more information, you can call 219-880-1190 and ask for Amanda Hill. And Amanda will be able to email you information about the breast cancer walk.
Wow, amazing.
Tomorrow is National HIV Testing Day, and for the 5th year in a row, Community Health Net has been invited to the Walgreens on 25th and Grant to provide free HIV testing. So tomorrow, Community Health Net, I don't know the hours, but you can go and check our social media page, because we do have it posted there on our Facebook page and our other social media pages. But the Walgreens at the corner of 25th and Grant, Community Health Net will be there most of the day doing free HIV testing. You should know your status.
I was about to say that, because being that we don't hear from it as much when it first came out, and the fear and all of that was going on, they made great strides in the treatment of that, but you still, as you said, you shouldn't be walking around afraid to go find out. Yeah, and when it may not, it could be, or it may not be.
Right, and so what concerns me right now in the United States, we're having an uptick in the number of syphilis cases, so sexually transmitted infections. And with those, sometimes with those infections, you can be co-infected with another sexually transmitted disease, such as HIV. So I just implore people to be tested, to get tested, and to know your status.
Wow, amazing. Well, I know you got to get out of here, and I'm going to let you go this time.
Well, we talked about a lot in such a short time frame, and very, very interesting conversation, very engaging conversation. So I'm glad that I was able to come in today, and even though it's shorter than usual, we were still able to have some very, very good conversation.
Well, thank you so much for stopping by. We look forward to next month, and got to get geared up and getting in shape to do that walk too.
Yes.
And we'll hear more about it, and we'll talk more about it as it gets a little bit closer in. But thank you so much for all you do, and now we can add gardening. We had the chef extraordinaire and all of those things. So you're just wearing all these hats, or you're juggling all these hats, I should say. So thank you so much, and thank Community Health Net for all it does in terms of the community.
Thank you so much, Natalie.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.